Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Happy Wednesday. I'm excited to be here chatting with you today. First of all, I want to thank everyone who showed up for the Fearless Formulation Collective. If you did not get to participate, I highly recommend signing up so that you get access to the replays. I've gotten so many great, amazing emails from people thanking me for bringing that group together. They just absolutely loved my guests. We had Justina from Ireland, Julie from Atlanta, Georgia, and Christina from Australia. So the time zone thing was a bit tricky. We had people that had to stay up until 1 a.m. because they were glued to the screen and they could not turn it off and go to bed. So it's difficult. The technology is amazing and it allows us all to connect real time, which I just keep pinching myself, and I'm able to have these pop-up education days with people from clear across the globe, and our connection was great. I only had one glitch. Of course, it was when I was teaching, so that's okay. You guys are sick of me anyway. But it was fine. I got kicked off and then I jumped right back on. So if you did not sign up, I highly recommend it. The link is somewhere on here on the probably last week's coffee chat. It's like expertcolorsolutions.com/collective, I believe. But DM me if you can't find the link. It's definitely worth signing up for. So we made the theme formulation because you can learn, you can sit and watch YouTube videos, you can go to $1,200 classes on balayage. But if you don't understand what color is actually doing when it touches the hair and how it behaves and what happens and the chemistry behind it, which Julie is the queen of the chemistry. I was so blessed to have her join us. She's so great with the visuals of the cortex medulla. She makes it fun. It's not boring like in beauty school, but understanding what hair color really does is amazing. So once you're armed with the foundation of the formulation and you have the patterns and the fancy stuff, the sky's the limit. Your income will explode. You'll be so much more confident. You have to have both. So it was a great, fun day. So in the meantime, one of my members of my Hair Color Secrets Insider membership reached out to me in a panic. She got a picture from a client, as we all do. Thank you, Pinterest. Thank you, Instagram. She got a picture and she has been doing hair for over 40 years. She's used to her traditional, the beauty school highlight that we've all know and love and got really comfortable with. So when something looks a little bit different and you have more experience, I venture to say someone fresh out of school would be less intimidated by the photo I'm going to share with you than a seasoned veteran. What happens is we get comfortable. It's a natural thing. We know how to foil with our eyes closed. We know how to section with our eyes closed. We have done that pattern. I can't even make up a number big enough for the amount of times we've done that pattern. I graduated beauty school in 1986. So you can imagine how many heads I have had the pleasure of doing dimensional highlights on. I have always been crazy about keeping my skills up to date. I learned balayage before anyone even heard about what balayage was because I had my finger on the pulse. I always wanted to be on top of my game and not falling behind. And when I went to learn it, Nancy Braun was the only one teaching it, unless you went to Paris. I went to L'Oreal in New York with my best friend, and we had our doll heads, and it was a disaster. I had no fingerprints. The bleach was all over my fingers. My fingers were on fire. I had cotton balls up, the cotton, shredded cotton fuzzies up my nose, all over my apron, all over my doll. It was a shit show, for lack of a better word. And I wouldn't have had it any other way, because when you're that uncomfortable, that's when you grow. That's when something huge is happening. Remember that, guys. We hate feeling uncomfortable. How many times have you left a class or left a situation because it made you super uncomfortable? What would have happened if you stayed? What would have happened if you saw it through? So I came home from that balayage class and I was like, I am determined to learn this. I'm going to do it. So of course, like we all do, we want to do it on a real person. We don't want to mess around with those doll heads. So I would do it on a new person. And I wasn't ready. In my opinion, you should do a balayage on a minimum of 10 live models who know they're guinea pigs, who are not paying clients when you're first getting to know it. It's a lot of dexterity. There's a lot of glitches that can happen. There's a lot of spottiness, uneven lift, uneven saturation, mixing the product too thin, too thick. There's a bajillion things that can go wrong. So I powered through and I kept doing it. And then what happens is you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to that boring highlight. I want to paint everyone. And balayage isn't for everyone. It's not for corrective color. I see on a lot of forums, people show a picture of a girl who has, level 4 color, existing color on there. And she's like, I'm going to balayage her. And she shows the after picture and it's like my color highlights. And I'm like, good luck, honey. Like, you are not getting there with balayage. Only to find out when I see the after post, she did it in foil. So it drives me crazy when people call that balayage. If there's foil involved, it's no longer called balayage. I'm sorry, that's not balayage. Balayage is open air, free painting just the surface of the hair. There's a lot more to it than just painting it into a V and slapping it into a foil. So then what happens is when people get frustrated, they're like, you know what? I was making a lot of money doing my traditional foils. I'm going back to that. And if someone absolutely insists that I do balayage, I'll do it on her. That was me. I was like, I'm going back to the foils. So Beth Minardi, said at one of her classes, she didn't feel like she was an expert at balayage, so she chose not to do it. But because she saw that it was a trend, she was like, well, I got to figure out how to do this because my clients are going to ask for it. So she created her own version and called it American Balayage. She got clever. She used really long foil and she did it. She did the V's and the W's and all those shapes in long foil and called it American Balayage. So there are so many different ways to do one look. I can look at a picture and say, oh my gosh, do this, this, and this, 20 minutes, boom, boom, done, beautiful. My coworker, who may have been trained by me, who learned all the same things that I do, can look at that picture and say, oh, I don't see that. I see doing this, this, and this. So I wanted to share the photo that my member shared with me because I want to get feedback from you. I want this to be interactive. I hardly get the chance. I'm always talking a mile a minute with all of you, but I want you to weigh in. I have a list of the ways that I think this could be done, and I will also share those with you. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you would do it. And I, of course, will learn something from you as well. So let me just check in on the comments. I am on that program where I can't see a lot of your names. So it'll say Facebook user. So Facebook user, hello. Marwa says hello from Houston, Texas. Sophia, thank you for staying awake and watching the collective. I loved all your feedback. It really fuels me to hear that you're loving the programs that I do. Colette said, good morning. It was a great day of learning. Colette, you're amazing. You and Maria are such active, amazing members and awesome colorists. Oscar, hey, Oscar. I got to see you last night. Great job on the salon training page. I hope I won something. My little fingers were typing away. I missed when they said how to win yours, so I probably did not win yours. Natalie's been a lurker. That's okay, Natalie. You can lurk away. I love having you. So I am going to share this photo. And it's going to go over my face. So forgive me, I'm going to keep talking even though she's over my face. So this is the inspiration photo. The good news is her guest is young and she's natural level 5, no existing color. So that's a beautiful thing. That's half the battle right there. If she said, oh, my guest is level 3, she's done box color 65 times and this is what she wants, that's a whole different story. So take a minute and just think about what you would do. And I want you to notice it's not all one color. That's the only hint that I'm going to give you. I knew, talk about branding. I knew when I saw this picture that it was Anko Tran. I've had him cut my hair. This is his signature look. And I didn't even have to see that watermark up top, Mr. Anko Tran. I knew it was him. And I knew that the color most likely is Johnny Ramirez. So that's another hint. Johnny and Anko work together. They're an amazing team. Johnny does the color, Anko does the cut, and Johnny is known for these beachy lived-in looks. He trademarked the word lived-in, I don't know why, because everybody uses it. So I'm not sure how trademarks work, but he trademarked lived in color. So let me hear some of your processes on what you would do. Natalie, thank you for buying the book. I'm excited. I hope you like it. I have a book club. When you're done with the book and you want to do a deeper dive into the book, I have a book club, and I also have a fearless formulation challenge. So if you want to take your education a step further on what you read in the book, please reach out and we'll get you signed up for a challenge. Joanna says, Elaine, I will be reaching out to you. Beware, I need to be Elained. I love it. You can be Elained anytime. I am so blessed to get to do what I do. And my favorite part of what I do is mentorship. I don't want to just give techniques and information. I want to be a strong mentor in your life and help you to figure out situations like this. Where are my colorists? I don't have any attempts at this. What's going on, guys? This is such a simple thing. Let me check in. I know there's a delay. Make sure that I'm still live. So Audra said, level 4 shadow root with American balayage, color melt, mid shaft with level 8, and ends with a 10. So what is the order of all that, Audra? You're doing the balayage first, and then you're doing a shadow root and melting and leaving the ends later. Someone's driving. Okay, you're excused. You can voice text. Actually, no excuse. You can voice text your answer. And I don't know who you are because it says Facebook user. Sorry about that. Yes. Well, if you are any bit as annoying as I was, Joanna, I should be on the lookout. I drove that woman insane. But see how it turned out? I'm now paying it forward and sharing with others. I had to know. It really was like a major thing with me. I absolutely had to know the answers. So I'm taking it away for a minute because I'm talking behind a photo. I haven't gotten fancy enough to figure out how to have that be up. Actually, let me see if I can put it. No, that's weird too. I was going to put it in my background, but that's going to be weird too. So I'm asking about, I'll pop it up again. If a client gave you this photo and she is a natural level 5 with no existing color, I can peek around here. Hello, here I am. I hate that it puts it right in the middle. She has natural level 5, and this is her desired photo. So Ashley said, teased baby lights with shadow root. Ashley said, I just jumped on. What's the question? Ashley, level 5 client wants this look. What is your process? Karen said, a type of melt, demi at zone 1, permanent color, and bleach painted throughout the rest. Interesting. That is one of my answers as well. Karen, I want you to elaborate on the permanent color and bleach, what your process is. I want you to be specific, like step 1, this, step 2, that. People take things very literally, so I want to make sure that we're clear. Audra said, I would probably do the shadow root and American balayage at the same time, go back and color melt after. So when you do your American balayage, do you avoid painting on the shadow root, having that touch so that it doesn't get that weird warmth there, or do you go right over top of it? Suzanne says, I would tease and paint in foil for quicker processing than possible root melt. That was also one of my answers. Natalie says, is it hand painted shadow cream 6A, translucent 8N, 10NV? So hand painted highlights and then some glazing down. Audra, I might even just keep the roots at a level 5. I like it. I like that answer. Facebook user, I'm sorry. It says I would go in and baby light and balayage, hair left out. I would then go back in and shadow and color melt. Awesome choice. Nellie, melting low light. Well, low light isn't going to show up yet because she's a natural level 5. So you need to do something first for that. Hair by Edith says balayage technique with baby lights. Hair by Edith, I won't touch her base. Good call. So see, this is just maybe 6 or 7 people answered, and look at how different all the answers are. And that is what I love about what I do, hair color. My favorite thing in an in-person class is to show a photo up on the screen and show the client in the chair and show her inspo picture. And then I go around the room and I say, write down on an index card every step. Step 1, if you're going to do a Malibu, crystal gel, put that on there. Step 1, remove minerals. Step 2, dry the hair. Step 3, be specific. There is never, and I say with 100% certainty, there is never more than one person in the room who did the same exact thing. And that is why we're all busy, because there's room for all of us. Clients can go to so many different people and get something close to that photograph. It's never going to be exactly like that photograph because they're not that exact person. They don't have the texture, the porosity, the density, the length. The one has naturally wavy hair, so it's going to kick up really cute like that picture. I know what An does to get the hair look like that. If you could have seen my after picture when he did my hair has to be put where, like, these curls have to be put in there. It's like when you blow dry my hair, it's just stuck to my head, totally flat, nothing hair. And he was struggling to try to put a bend in it with a flat iron. When I showed my friends my after, I went downstairs. He was in New York doing a pop-up, and I went to get my hair done. And I went downstairs. My daughter was waiting for me, and she lost it. Like, I literally went into the salon downstairs and said, can I grab some hairspray to get the front was like this when I left, but picture it straight. Like, it was completely straight. And she's used to seeing me with a little bit of zhuzh and a little bit of oomph. And she was like, seriously, how much did you just pay for that haircut? And I think it was a couple of years ago. And I want to say it was like almost $300 by the time I tipped. And I own a salon. So it was like going to New York, number one, tolls, parking, hotel, taking my daughter out to dinner, out to lunch. We made a day of it. We hung out. I brought my niece too. But they were dying at my hair. It was a great haircut, but he does that same bend wave thing to every single person that he cuts before they leave. And every single one looks like this. So that was not a good look on me, but he did a great job. So let me go back to the comments because I love this. I love hearing everybody's different opinions. So Suzanne said she would tease and paint in foil for quicker processing and impossible root melt. And that is one of my things that I wrote down that is a possibility. And I actually took it a step further and I started doing a demo for my member when we were talking, telling her the different ways that she can do it. So the positive of this is it's super quick. This is how that girl actually, I'm almost positive, would have been done because Johnny Ramirez is the teasing king. He does everything super teased and then does 4 different processes and then takes all the teas out and it looks very lived in and fabulous. So this is going to be quick. It's going to be easy-ish because you have to take all those teas out. That's an issue. But here's the problem. When you do the heavy teasing and you tip out the ends, you're going to get that floating highlight look, which I love, but it's not going to last as long. So this is a key point. You need to chat with your client. This client is a young girl. This is one of the first times she's getting color. I think she had maybe subtle highlights before. So she has no color in her hair. Her hair isn't chopped to that bob length. It's longer. So for me, my favorite trend to come along in my entire almost 35 years of doing hair has been doing root shadows and melts and bringing the color right up to the scalp, like the old school highlight, right up to where it's growing out like yarn out of the head, right up to the scalp. This is just conditioner. I did this really quick for her on Sunday to show her how simple of a quick foil pattern. But taking it all the way up to the scalp and then, like people said in their comments, rooting it down with a translucent glaze to cover those highlight lines and bring it down to that caramely in between. See this in between shade that we see, that caramely color? So if we bring here I am. if we bring everything up to the scalp, blonde, and it's fresh up here, and then we root that down and bring it deeper into that caramely zone and then leave the ends blonder, what's going to happen is it's like bonus color. This color that was up to the scalp is now that tanny caramely color with a glaze. So we know that as the color grows out and moves down from her scalp, because we took the blonde all the way up to the roots, that highlight is going to be around way longer than this guy, because this guy only had the last few inches. So she's going to get maybe 2-3 haircuts out of this before this is gone. Because when this tease comes down, and this isn't like majorly teased, like I can pull this with my fingers. It's not like super, French twist from the 60s teased. But once that comes down, that piece is going to be, all the way down here is going to be your floating highlight, and it's just not going to last as long. So that's something to consider. Yes, it's easier and quicker the day of, but how long is it going to last? So Karen said, demi at natural level, 1 inch, then permanent 1 level lighter, next inch, comb down a bit, then everything is painted using a board, putting permanent color in the shadow area of painting. It will touch bleach. Karen, you are the bomb diggity. I'm going to show this so that people can see this, because this is how I think. I think we were trained similar, because I see your pop-ups, your comments pop up, and we are very similar colorists. So for me, I probably would skip the demi at the natural level, just because I don't want to invite any weird fading there, because a level 5 is beautiful as is. So that's the only thing I wouldn't do. And then she's saying use permanent color, a level lighter in the next inch, so that she's just naturally lighting that level 5, coming it down a bit, and then painting using a board, and then putting the permanent behind it as a shadow. So where mine is similar but not the same is one of my options was pick up a piece. I like to do what I call a textural weave. So I would do my textural weave, and then in the zone 1, like from here to here, you could use a high lift tint to lighten those highlights to that caramely color. And then on the same strand, put the high lift tint from here to here, and on the same strand, go in. You could use a board. I turn my hand into a freaky board. I do a stiff hand and put that underneath, and then paint lightener for the rest of the strand. And then be sure to use my flat foil technique, because you don't want to fold this up into the regular tint, because then you're going to mush it all together. And it's like, why bother doing 2 different things? So that was one of my choices. I was like, if you're nervous about melts and root shadows and all this terminology, simply use high lift color at the beginning of the piece where you see that caramely color, and then lightener on the ends. Put the flat foil on top of flat foil. I don't have any loose foils here. Foil on top of foil, let it process. She would look like that beautiful caramel. So that was my first option. And then if you really want to get fancy, you could tip out other pieces that don't have the caramely color at the roots and just add some lightened pieces on the ends. And then my second option was what I like to call a ballet blend. Fancy. I like making up these terms. So a ballet blend is, if you signed up for my 18 foil money piece, you saw me do a technique where I'm painting the surface at zone 1. I'm painting just the surface. And then I slide a foil in and I do the entire saturation to the mids and ends. So by painting just the surface, you're going to get that balayage faint light. You're not going to get a lot of saturation. It's going to be faint, like that caramely color, and then a bolder, brighter bit on the end. So I call that a ballet blend. Or you could use clay lightener at the zone 1 and powder lightener at zone 2, because the clay never gets as bright or light as the powder lightener, and the clay is more forgiving. So if you surface paint with the clay, you can slide your foil down. If you're in my membership, I do that transition piece from that Johnny Ramirez training We're leaving out a little bit of the clay to the air so that it doesn't get as light, so you don't have to go in and do that thing that Johnny does with the transition. Ashley said, tease balayage, tip out some ends, and melt zone 2. Yep. You just want to make sure, again, talk to her about how long it's going to last. Because if you don't do things right up to the root, it's never going to last as long as if you start down here. Obviously, it's going to be cut sooner. And guys, also, with all these options, I don't want to hear you say, well, I only did, like when I showed my member how few foils we needed to do it in foil. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 foils on this side, and I only did half of her head. And then naturally it would be another 8 foils on this side. And maybe we could float a couple back here, maybe 4 more back here. So 20 foils, if that. Because remember, this is a really subtle but messy and fun look. She doesn't have a lot of color. So what we tend to do as colorists is we always want to overgive, over-deliver, overdo it. We tend to overthink. A lot of us, I am a card-carrying ADD. You know that by watching my coffee chats. I always go around and around, and sometimes I come back and finish a story. Sometimes I don't. But you love me anyway. You love me for my ADD because I own it. I share it with you. I know I do that because I get excited. And it's like, oh, another story pops up and I go off into a tear. But I just had the most amazing podcast interview with a woman who is a psychotherapist, who is now a life coach, who specializes in women, mostly entrepreneurs that suffer from ADD. I am that person. So I wish I could afford her. Her rates are out of my budget to have coaching with her because I embrace my ADD. I've chosen not to be medicated because it is my superpower. I come up with these crazy ideas and I just do it. I don't hesitate. I'm not an overthinker and I'm not detail oriented. So it's bad when it comes to finances, spreadsheets, and, like doing a business plan for a business. I would never have opened my business. I would have procrastinated and never done that. But for me, I'm just like, I have an idea. I want to take a colorist from Ireland, Australia, Georgia, and me and do a free pop-up collective on formulation. And we talked about it for maybe 15 minutes. I put it all together and we did it and you all loved it. So if I was an overthinker, I wouldn't get anything done. So we tend to do that with hair color. We look at it and we're like, oh my gosh, look at all these colors. How am I going to do all these colors? If I foil it, it's going to be all one color. And if I color it, it's going to be all one color and not be light enough. But it's so simple, guys. So I had the highlights up to the scalp, starting with high lift color and then tipping out a few ends. Then I had number 2, a Ballet Blend, paint zone 1 with clay on top of the surface, powder on the ends. Number 3, tease the base of the highlight pieces, use lightener, leave the transition area out of the foil, Johnny Ramirez style. I'm not sharing that with you because I paid a lot of money for that, and that's in my membership. So if you want to know the Ballet Blend and the Johnny Ramirez, you have to become a member. God, that class cost me a fortune. And then what everybody else is sharing is, for me, my textural highlight weave and a zone tone. And that is in the membership as well. So a lot of these things are in my membership for Hair Color Secrets Insider. But my membership is not, here's a video on a highlight technique, have fun, have at it, see you later. That's not what it is. So I've been doing the membership for 3 years, and I'm proud to say that in year 3, most of the original OG members who signed up and had no idea who I was or what this membership was, they signed up and they trusted me and they stayed the first year. And then at the end of the year, they were like, well, now what? And I was like, oh, okay, let's do next level. So then I offered a next level offer where we do smaller group coaching and a little more hands-on things in our coaching calls. Well, now my next level people in May are coming up to the end of their second year. So I'm like, okay, I need to get to the next level for my next level. What can I now offer to those people. So I'm going to be creating an in-person like master jam class where we're going to get it together in person, and they're going to get to do the techniques that they learned with me. And we're going to get to see each other in person, God willing, when everybody's comfortable, and basically like test out some of the things that they may have been afraid to try. So I'm always changing it. I'm always growing it. And I am here for you. This is it for me. Like, this is my job right now, is to mentor and share everything with all of you. So there's people who are like, I don't want to join a membership. I don't want to have to show up for coaching calls every month. I just want to learn what you just said about that Johnny Ramirez thing. I just want to learn what your Ballet Blend is. I want to learn how to do a teasy lights, things like that. So I thought about it and I was like, I don't really want to do a separate thing and make it just technique. But I also think that people are overthinking and overfoiling. So I've created a brand new product. I want to call it like a mini course, because it's not like, my membership is over 180 modules plus coaching. This is, I don't know the final count, but I believe it's like 6 or 7. I don't have it in front of me, but it's ways of being quicker with your highlighting services without compromising the end result. It's not shortcuts. It's working smart and foiling with intention. This is not a balayage class. This is not a fancy technique class. This is how to do what you've been doing faster, better, and with easier maintenance for your client. So it's just stepping outside your comfort zone and shattering your routine of next piece, foil, next piece, foil, horizontal, up the head, I'm asleep. I can do this in my sleep. I can order lunch. I can look at the lunch menu. I can talk to my other client. I can make a phone call. I can do anything because I'm such a robot and I've been foiling this way for 100 years. So that is what this mini course is all about. Right now, it is in pre-sale because my editor is about to get choked out. He was in the middle of my project and got called away on an assignment that was more important than me. And he's in the middle of editing it. So it is not ready to watch. So for that reason, I'm offering a $50 discount. If you pre-order this product, you'll get $50 off of it when it launches. So when it launches, it will be $197. Right now, you will get it for $147 if you pre-purchase it, and then you'll be the first to get it when the edits are done. It should be the end of this week. Fingers crossed. The delay is not me, because I am a woman of my word, and when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. The other people that work around me and for me, not so much. He promised me everything by Saturday. Today's Wednesday. So that's the control freak in me that has a hard time letting go of projects, because I know when I do them, they will get done. Salinas, can I watch this video later? Salinas, all of my coffee chats, everyone always reaches out and says, how can I watch that again? Guys, they live on this page. They're always on this page. You could scroll down on this Expert Color Solutions page and find coffee chats from 4 years ago. So if you're ever bored and you come on this page, Expert Color Solutions Facebook page, click on the button that says media or videos. It's different on your phone and on your computer, but basically find the videos that are on there, and you'll never leave the house again. There's so many of them. I've been on here every Wednesday for probably over 4 years. So they always stay on here, Salinas. Do not worry. Natalie said, I've been using clay lighter consistently for my hand painting for the last month because I feel I need to really make sure I know how to. Clay is much more forgiving, but it also does not get super light. So when a client wants that platinum Elsa hair, don't think the clay is going to get you there unless she's already a level 7. Ashley, is that the email? A lot of you are already on the wait list for the Fearless Foiling, Fast and Fearless Foiling product. And yes, you are going to get that $50 you should have gotten. You will be getting an email saying, or you should have gotten it saying, thank you for your patience. I think there's like 180 people on the wait list. So if you're on the wait list, you're getting that $50 discount. So we will be sending out a link that you can click on it and get it right away. So no worries on that. If you are a Hair Color Secrets Insider member, do not purchase this. The Insider annual members are getting this in your bonus library. So do not purchase it. I don't want to have to go in and refund everybody's money because Stripe charges me when I have to do that. So if you are a monthly member, we sent you an email saying you can upgrade to annual and get this free, which I would highly recommend because you also get the Fabulous Colorist Toolbox when you're an annual member. And what happens, members that are monthly, is your annual starts the day that you upgrade to annual. Your monthly payment stops and your annual starts. So you'll have a year from today on. If you upgrade, like, you're not going to lose anything that you already paid, but you'll start from here and you'll have a year from now. So with the annual, you get the bonus with Donna Roggio on finances. You get Bryn's Canva bonus. You get the Fearless Formulation Challenge bonus. You get this Fast and Fearless foiling bonus. I mean, the bonuses are more than pay for the annual plan. So you're basically getting your annual free if you had bought everything separate. So that's important to know. If you're already a member, do not buy it. So I don't have your name. I'm sorry, Facebook user, but it says, when I look at the picture, I don't see all the steps being described. I only see 2 steps, and the caramel coloring is produced by her natural color. So what do you mean about produced by her natural color? So if she's a level 5 natural girl, she's going to look pretty similar to this. So if she's level 5 natural, how is it that you're saying that would happen naturally in the level 5? Are you saying if it's hand painted in balayage, maybe that'll be a little bit deeper and warmer? Try to elaborate a little bit. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name because it just says Facebook user. Gail says, started watching the replay, had to work Monday. Oh my God, so great. Wasn't it great? I was so proud of that. I mean, when I tell you, we are pure passion. Like, there was no meetings behind this. You know, you think about hair shows and it drives me crazy because I was trying to do something just free, just take charge and do something for a big hair show company. And I talked to the CEO and I was like, I have this idea. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's great. And then all the hoops that you have to jump through with these big corporations because I guess they're worried about lawsuits. I don't know. I don't overthink anything. I'm just like, this is an idea. Let's do it. Right now, I have an idea that's like eating at my soul that I want to try to make happen. So I'm going to reach out to somebody and try to do it. But when I get involved with collaborations, I cannot work with overthinkers. I cannot work with people that are like, well, what about this? And what about that? I'm like, who cares? Just go live and share from passion. If you share from your heart, nothing you say can be a bad thing. It's just your heart, your opinion, your way of doing things. You know, people can take it or leave it. They can believe you or they cannot believe you. They can try it or not try it. But the overthinking makes me insane. Hello from beautiful Barbados. Welcome. So I'm not getting another comment from the person that said they don't see the 2 steps. So if you want to jump on, I'm happy to go deeper with that. But I love that everybody had a different way of doing it and everybody would have an amazing result. So I challenge you to grab a doll head and do this. I can put that picture up in the chat. I'll put it in the comments so that you can use that as a reference. But make that your challenge for this week. If you have downtime in the salon, create this look using one or more of the things that we just talked about. Tease it and do, you know, the mids and ends with lightener and call it a day. Do, you know, a root melt and then tease the rest of the hair. Do permanent high lift here and bleach on the ends. Take little pieces of everything that we shared. I really made a mess of my hair showing you my Onco blow dry. So do it, try it. Don't just say, well, I don't believe that, or that's, you know, that's a weird way of doing it, or I would never want to do that. And let's take it a step further. I would love for you to share them on this page. Come back onto this page and be like, this is what I did. This is how I did it, and share with each other. That's how we all learn, is from sharing different ideas. There's so many things that I've learned in the restroom and the coffee line at hair shows. I often share that my retouch formula I got from my friend Ian at a behind the chair show that was a painful show. It was so disappointing. It was the last one that I ever went to. It was all about sales and just over the top, nothing usable, just crazy, back to the way that hair shows disappointed me before. And behind the chair was always my go-to because it was pure education. It wasn't about the thumping music and the fog machines and all the stuff that was big in the 90s in hair shows that I got tired of the flash. I wanted real usable content, real usable techniques that I could walk away and use right away. So the show was a bust for us. And they were so unorganized about lunch that we had to go to a place that was so inundated. I mean, you know how big those BTC shows are. There was thousands of people piling out at the same time. Everyone needed to go to lunch. And when you're traveling, you usually Uber to the show. So you don't have a car to go somewhere for lunch. So you go to the first place that's there. And then the line was just wrapped around the building. And we only had like 40 minutes for lunch or something. So it was nuts. But in the line for lunch, there was 4 of us, 1 from DC, 1 from Florida, 2 from PA. And we were chatting it up in line. And we learned more from each other in line for lunch than we learned at the entire 3-day event. So I never regret going to any events, even when I'm disappointed, because I always meet someone. I worked a booth at a trade show years ago for my friend, and I met Donna, who now does the financial bonus in my course. We've been friends for, my God, I think it's like 20 plus years now. And we met because I was working a booth free. I was not getting paid. I was doing somebody a favor, and I was working a booth at a local trade show. So education and inspiration is all around you. It's that little girl on the beach that naturally has this color that I look like a creepy, kidnapper on the beach when I take my walk and I just stare at a little girl and how her highlights are so beautifully, naturally dimensional. And it's just from the sun and life and not all these crazy techniques. So use your creativity and stop. For the love of God, stop overfoiling. If you step back and that head has 500 foils, I will not congratulate you and tell you how amazing you are. I will say you are working way too hard and you need to take my Fast and Fearless foiling workshop because you're working way too hard and the hair is being overworked as well. So thank you as always for watching this coffee chat. I hope that you will take my challenge and try that on a doll head. And please come back and share it. This is my life. This is exciting for me to see all of you do this and share the different ways that you look at that picture and that you do in your head the creative thing. I mean, someone could have said cap. You could do that with a cap, old school. I see Lisa Loves Balayage pulling out the cap just to show people that there's a million different ways to do it. So rock on, you do you, and let's see your results. And I will see you all next week.